I can't wait for a Titans version of this. The High-Grade Rules Century Galbaldy Beta is simply amazing to look at. The proportions are perfect, it's big, it's bulky, and it's ready to do business. On top of that, thanks to the amazing engineering on this kit, we have virtually no seam lines whatsoever. The only two you can see are one on the backpack and one on the beam rifle. Although there are a few things that keep this thing from complete perfection. We've got some hollow parts here and there, and also the eye, rather than being a really cool clear part, is just a sticker. And talking about stickers, the other ones we get is a nice metallic one for the scope of the beam rifle and a yellow stripe for the shield. We do not get clear marking stickers, and that is one of my pet peeves when it comes to mass production units. They always look so much better when you can put your own numbering on them, or at least put some symbols of their faction on them. Fortunately for the Galbaldy Beta, we'll quickly forget about that when we go on to the articulation. The head is on a double ball joint, goes up nicely, down, rotates around all the way, and will wiggle around. The arms will rotate around all the way, go up nicely like that on just the arm joint. There's also a joint inside that allows the arm to go up all the way like that. So if you want to do a final shooting with your Galbaldy Beta, you can do that. This joint is really a work of art because it also allows forwards movement all the way like that, and then combined with that arm joint, this is some seriously nice articulation. Backwards, not quite as much because the joint only works in one way, but still, it is an amazing joint. We'll rotate around all the way. Above the elbow itself bends on two joints, almost completely up like that. And then the hands are, as always on ball joints, will turn around, wiggle around, and do everything a ball joint does. For the waist, we have a ball joint that is itself on an extra hinge joint, so forwards a little bit like that until it pops out. It is a mass production unit, so we always need that explosion action. And backwards a little bit like that. And we'll of course also rotate around all the way. The legs go forwards nicely like that, and for once, these front skirts are not molded together and are completely separate. The legs go move backwards about that far, go out all the way like that. We'll rotate around. Then it got an extra hinge at the hip for some jiggle movement. The knees are double jointed, also go all the way like that. And when you look at the legs, they're pretty bulky, but that is some really good articulation going on. The feet are somewhat more limited though. They are on a double joint, hinge on the top, ball joint at the bottom. They only go forwards about that far, backwards that far if you're really careful, side to side a bit, rotate around, and wiggle around as well on that ball joint. So overall, the articulation of this thing is really good. The way the shoulders can move is absolutely mind-blowing for just being a random mass production mobile suit that, well, to be fair, it was piloted by a main character, but still the Galbaldy Beta in the grand scope of things wasn't that important, so it's really good to see the Galbaldy Beta getting that love. Sure, the feet might hinder the overall articulation a bit, but get an action base and this thing is totally ready to rock. But of course, not without its accessories. Starting off with what's on the mobile suit itself, we open up these shoulder pads. We will reveal the beam sabers, one on each shoulder. Now there is a beam saber in here, but that is actually just a dummy because the beam saber is supposed to extend, which would be pretty much impossible in High-Grade Universal Century. Also, you will have to paint the inside there gray. Now when we have a look at the two beam sabers that we're getting, these are the extended ones, and then we're getting two really nice, long, clear yellow beam saber blades. These are the newer, longer style ones. And I must say, this is the first time I ever experienced the beam saber blade falling out of the handle, so you might want to use the super glue trick on them. Though only one of my beam sabers has that issue. This one is kind of wobbly, but overall will not just randomly fall out. Unfortunately, the issues don't end there, because well, they're also kind of loose in the hand, so you kind of got to make sure that you position the seam line that's on there to be correctly inside of the hand, so that the seam line helps you with keeping the beam saber inside of the hand. So let's quickly forget about the beam sabers and have a look at the beam rifle, because this thing is a lot better. One really cool thing about this is you've got a scope that is fixed, but if you want, you can actually remove this part, flip it around, and have it mounted on the other side. Just if you want to give it to one of your mobile suits and have it in the left hand. Now, the Galbaldy Beta only has a right trigger finger hand, so it cannot really use that feature. And thanks to the ball joint of the hand that's on an angle, it has absolutely no problems holding on to this beam rifle, despite the long stock. Then for defensive purposes, we have the shield. Though it also serves an offensive purpose, because we get a twin missile launcher. Then the gimmick of the shield is if you remove this, you can reattach it up there. Now the shield, in a very similar fashion to the Mark II shield, has become folded up. One thing that's kind of funny is that the connection isn't super solid and it can still wiggle around. I don't think it's supposed to do that. And then once attached to either arm, it can also rotate around. And then one final really cool gimmick that the Galbaldy Beta can do is an opening cockpit. And once this panel is removed, we get the hatch that leads to the cockpit. Now you might be wondering why they included such a kind of useless feature, but also kind of useful feature if you want a mod. And that's probably because, well, at least I think, because they also included this feature with the old Galbaldy model kits from the 80s. So I guess it's kind of like an homage to those old clunkers, which is really cool. As always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? And well, for 1,500 yen, I'd say yeah. You're getting a really good representation of the Galbaldy Beta, spot on proportions, it looks amazing, comes with all the accessories you need, and while there are a few hiccups here and there with the beam saber, some hollow parts, it all comes together really well as one package. Just let's not forget about that amazing articulation that this thing is packing. So in the grand scheme of things, if you're a fan of the Galbaldy Beta, do not wait, rush out and buy this thing right now. At 1,500 yen, it might be a little bit expensive for real army building, but I would still say that it's totally worth it. And then for size comparisons, here it is next to the standard sized Gym Command and the always bulky Zaku 3. Now you can really tell just how big this thing is. So for 1,500 yen, like I said, you're getting a nice chunk of plastic, some really good articulation, and some cool accessories. I will see you all next time.